is what I'm gonna get used to, then I wanna know how you can get a job, without when coming here, because this will give me a headache, and I'm getting low, I can't even come through the door so I can go upstairs to get to my class. Those are about two or three things.
If you need special accommodations,
There is no, sorry.
if
There
you,
is no, there is
we
none.
will make special accommodations there. I know that we help students, and if they need additional chairs, we usually try to grab one from either our office or from the computers that are there. If you could just give us our office a call or let them know that you need special accommodations, and we are sensitive to the needs of students with disabilities or who need additional accommodations.
I'm talking about when we gave the information that the financial aid asked for, and 3 or 4 times they asking repeatedly the same thing. And I'm spending more time in the financial aid than in my class. How is the school?
I think one of the things Noe said,
Am I making sense?
you are making sense. I think you're saying that you asked 3 or 4 times for documents,
I'm
and
spending
then
too much
what's the
time on
consideration
FaceTime.
being given to you, given your situation? One, Noemi did answer a little earlier in that you do have to give us time to not only take in your documents, but process them. And processing your documents means analyzing them, okay? I'm not speaking to whenever you turn something in. I'm speaking, and if you have an individual concern, you can always see Noemi. You can always come and see me, and I will, to the best of my ability, at least try to find out what your situation is.
How long is the process for the latency? How long is the process
Yeah,
for the
there was
latency?
a question back here already. Go ahead.
No, and you spoke about having time and patience. I think that's one of the primary reasons why we're here today, voicing our opinion. So for the sake of time and patience, can you talk about maybe discrepancy funds or supplemental funds for the glitch in the system?
Okay, two things that we want to talk about. And I apologize, but there is a class coming, and we never can predict how long this forum is, because obviously so many of you have questions. So we may we have another forum scheduled for Friday, but I want to say 2 things. One, we had a list of 246 students who were supposed to be receiving checks last Friday. Only 65 students have picked up those checks. I would say that is our responsibility in making sure that we have a better way of communicating with our students, because we have many of you here that may already be on that list. So we internally, you have my promise, we will have to find a way of communicating better with you. Having said that, in terms of the faculty at our college, Noelle, would you stand up and say it, please?
I have a quick question, just in addition to that, like how many students applied and were denied or weren't given any kind of financial aid packet at all for the 600 students that supposedly are getting their checks?
That we need to do the research. All I know is that we have approximately 650 students who qualify for financial aid. Given the 55 additional names that we have, we're close to the halfway mark. Not sufficient, true, but we also want to have a way of communicating with those students who already are supposed to be receiving the checks and they haven't picked them up. And Noelle.
Okay, I'd just like to make an announcement very quickly for all you guys. First of all, I'm glad all of you are here. We need to be here. We need to be voicing our opinion. One of the announcements I want to make is about the listening session tomorrow. The board will be here. If you guys want your voices heard, beyond the people who are up here, those people's bosses, the chancellor's bosses, will be here. The board will be meeting at 12 o'clock on the 4th floor. I encourage everybody to go sit in. Well, let me get to the announcement for financial aid hardship fund. A lot of your instructors have heard what's going on. They feel for all of you. The administrators have heard, even though sometimes we think that administrators have deaf ears. Staff has been working hard, even though we might feel that staff might treat us in a curt way while we're at financial aid. They are under a lot of stress also. But all of them have pulled their resources together. They've given money. They've created what's called a hardship fund for people, for students here who are suffering. An application was put together, a criteria was put together. Their staff, faculty, and I think an administrator also who are going to sit on a committee, review the applications that come in, and they're going to award grants to people who are in desperate need. The applications will be available. The applications will be available on the financial aid desk, and also up in the second floor at Jasmine Martinez's office, who is also on the fifth floor, who's the admin for Mr. Poon here, and on the fifth floor with Marilyn.
No, ASCCC.
Oh, okay, at the ASBCC office. I'd just like to remind everybody that they didn't need to do this, but your teachers do care, the staff does care, and the administrators do care also. Thank you.
They're available now?
Yes, they're all available at all those 3 different places we have mentioned.
I have an extra form. I just want to say that I appreciate you guys for coming and this to us, and that I know that you guys are doing what you guys can do to get us our money, and I appreciate it. So my question is basically concerning the handbook. And I just wanted to try to see if I could call for like a correction on the guidelines.
Say, put the microphone up to you there.
I'm sorry. On page 5, it says reasonable dependent child care expenses must be documented for each requesting student. And on page 6, it says for child care, students who have child care expenses related to their attendance may receive an additional budget allowance based on documentation. Now, I was here the last 2 semesters, and I was considered an independent student. Through all the problems that we've been having here, I don't know why, but I've been considered a dependent student. That's fine, but it says in your book on page 6 that my budget could be adjusted due to child care expenses, and I was told that just because I'm a dependent student that wouldn't happen, and it doesn't say anywhere in the guideline about me being a dependent student that wouldn't happen. It says students who have child care expenses, and on the page before it says dependent child care expenses, and I am a dependent student. So I just wanted to address that and get a more clear understanding of why it is that my budget would be.
We don't want to really discuss individual cases, Amor. We don't want to, I'm familiar with your situation and what you're going through and how we're also trying to, as much as possible, we try to be as liberal as possible in interpreting these regulations. We are held to these regulations, but we do try to be, we always try to err on the side of the student, okay, keeping that in mind. But once again, I can't discuss your individual case, and I'm sure you understand why, but your point is good, and hopefully we'll get some resolution to your particular situation, so that you can in fact receive something.
I have a question for the next phase of the process. For those of us who have received something, some of us have received an incomplete check, some of us have received a complete check, and on the check form, all we see is grants dispersed. We don't know what kind of grants we got. We don't know if we got our total grants. We want to know if we're not sure about that.
Agreed.
How can we find out?
With the financial aid staff, I totally agree. One of the things with Region is that it's not doing when checks are dispersed, it's not categorizing them out. It's not saying Pell, EOPS. It's not doing that. And so that's the short answer to your question.
And I was actually just on the phone. I was just on the phone with
We are
Region
investigating
this
it.
morning, and they did mention that from now to the future students that are getting paid, you should get an award letter by email. And what we're hoping to do is actually backtrack and print out all of the award letters for students so that you will know what grant you were given.
So if we are unsure that we received, say, a grant that we thought we were going to get, we sit in a line for an hour and then you can tell us.
Well, Eric, we are trying to, like I said, print those out and either mail them. Regents is now emailing them if you did have a valid email